ladies and gentlemen, we're going to introduce you to somebody who's got a self-published book out, and it's topical because of all the drama. Yeah, put those on, brother.
Do you want, Ebro, I'm going to start this whole interview off by reading a quick line. That bitch can suck my dick in Macy's window at Christmas.
You.
It's the first line. It's the first line of chapter 27. It's called Dirty Tactics.
Everyone welcome Gary L. Hayward to the program.
That's how you do an intro.
As I pronounce the name right, Hayward.
Yes.
Yeah. Gary, you have a book called Corruption Officer. You are a corrections officer on Rikers Island for how many years?
For about 9 years, 8 months.
9 years, 8 months. And during that time, you were involved in, for lack of a better term, and probably not describing it at all, some serious corruption inside Rikers.
Yes, sir.
And the reason I wanted you to come up today was because there's obviously a lot of controversy in the news right now, and again, around corrections officers on Rikers Island.
Yes, it is.
Poisoning food, abuse. How long ago were you a corrections officer? How long has it been?
I came home from prison in 2008. So
and you did how much time?
I did 2 years.
And before that, so in 2006 and before that for 9 years, you were a corrections officer on Rikers.
Yes, sir.
Describe to us some of the things that you detail in this book about what you did while you were a corrections officer.
I got involved in the underground contraband that goes on throughout corrections. One of the things was mainly due to the mayor banning smoking in all city facilities. So that opened up a market for anybody to, if they want to be corrupt, to bring in cigarettes and stuff like that.
Stuff like that. I'm sure you weren't just bringing in cigarettes, and that resulted in you getting 2 years.
Yeah, it was cigarettes, and then it elevated to a whole bunch of other stuff that I indicate in the book.
It's all in there. You're not hiding any of it.
No.
You already did time for this.
I did the time. I mean, it's already out there. Like one of the reasons is not like for revenge or something like that, is that when I came home to try to get a job, you go on the internet and everything I did, my crime, my record is right there on the internet.
Yep.
To prevent somebody from possibly giving me a job.
So you were upset by that?
I didn't expect it, but then at the same time, when you're dealing with the city and they don't want you to be in none of their facilities or stuff like that, I kind of now is like, I know that's business as usual for them.
But Gary, you can't be mad at the city when you signed up to do a job, a corrections officer, right? Uphold the law and whatever those laws are on Rikers Island. And then you start committing crime, and now you got an attitude that they put all your business out. I don't understand how that works.
Well, I didn't have an attitude.
Or you have a problem with it. You don't like the fact that it's out there.
Well, in this day of the internet, nothing is really privacy, but I feel like, okay, if I went for a law enforcement job or a job that has to do with money and stuff like that, I can understand them going into my background, finding out you were corrupt, all of a sudden, no, I'm not going to hire you. I understand that. But to just blatantly put all my private record out there, my criminal history out there, everybody's criminal history is not on the internet.
Yeah, but not everybody is a public official. A corrections officer is being paid by tax dollars, right?
Yes, sir.
So you work for us. Absolutely. And then you on Rikers Island smuggling dope. What was the other thing in there? What they call it?
Copstitutes.
What is that?
Yeah, he was basically pimping out other corrections officers to bang inmates. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's no need to lie about it now.
Exactly.
So wait, and what happened with those officers? Did they also do time?
No, it was like this. I was doing me and what I was doing. Females over there were doing what they were doing. It's just that I'm not gonna say it's like a family environment, but it's like in the projects, we know who was doing what.
So you figure it out and make arrangements.
Yeah.
That work for everyone.
For them and me. And
so you didn't snitch on anybody. This book isn't putting any of those other officers' names out there.
Well, there's a lot of officers upset about the book, period. Okay. And that's understandably so. The department is upset. I understand that. In my book, if you read my book, there's no officer that can go to jail, get in trouble for anything that I mentioned in that book.
This is shaming the whole, I guess, the establishment of COs. I mean, look, I hear horror stories all the time from people who do time and claim that the COs are corrupt. I hear that all the time.
How many people are you hanging out with who are getting home from Rikers?
I know people. Just
make sure that it shouldn't be all the time. You have a daughter. I mean, who you bring around your time?
Anybody that's going to Rikers, when they come back, they talk about that. Right. And I don't believe that it's all corruption officers, but I hear it a lot. And now the stories are in the news. And I'm sure that, people aren't happy about that getting out there because it makes everyone look bad even if they're not involved. And a book like this just exacerbates that problem.
I understand. My book is my opinion and my journey as a correction officer. I'll put it to you like this. We live in a neighborhood where you got drug dealers, you got people who do all kind of stuff. They cool, I know their mother, hey, that's you, that's not me. If a woman comes up and say, all men are dogs, and I don't know her and I never had no dealings with her, that's her opinion about men. I don't take it personal that it's me. Now, as a correction officer, yeah, I'm telling what I did, the corrupt things that led me up to going to prison and stuff like that in hopes to prevent other officers who are doing or maybe not doing what I did from going down that road.
So you think your book is written in a way that's going to deter anyone signing up to be a corrections officer from doing crime?
Yes, and my book serves a lot of purposes. If you don't know what goes on behind jail, that serves that purpose. If you want to be a correction officer, that book serves that purpose because then you go in with an open.
Does anyone, and I say this with all due respect, does anyone want to be a corrections officer? Like, is that the thing that you wanted to do it? Like,
well, me, no. When I came home from the military, because I'm a war vet from the Marines, a big guy, first thing was security, construction.
Of course.
I took the test, and I passed it, and I became a correctional. I took both tests, and I passed for police and corrections, but corrections called me first. I'm not saying there's a little kid out there that's saying when I grow up I'm going to be a corrections officer, but corrections officers are making $130,000 a year right now.
It's a risky job.
So money's good.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I am humiliated myself and disrespected my family and put them through a whole bunch of shame. And if we could see our mistakes before we do them, hell no, I wouldn't have.
So, all right. So you're making how much money when you were a corrections officer annually?
At the time, they wasn't making $130,000. They got pay increase. About $80,000.
So you're making $80,000 a year about 12 years ago. It's been about 12 years ago. And you decided to participate in prostitution, smuggling, contraband. What other crime were you committing?
I committed a lot of crimes.
Give me another one. I need it. I feel weird. My
you want the trifecta?
I need three things
You
on
need
the
the three.
list.
So
Okay, my OCD's kicking in. I need a three thing on the list.
Okay, corruption ain't always bringing in contraband and dealing with prostitutes in jail. It's a lot of things that go on. Okay. It's a lot of things that go on as far as we all know. Well, not we all know.
We don't
People
all know.
assume that correctionals beat inmates for no reason and mistreat them for no reason. That happened.
Yeah.
A lot. And me being a big guy,
you was fucking some people up just because it was a bad day. Fucking somebody up.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and cop out to you, but
you already did your time though, bro.
But most of my involvement was being called to an alarming situation, being called on behalf of somebody else. Only a few times I had the one-on-one where I had to do something myself, and I'm not sitting here telling you I was tough Tony because I got knocked out myself. Mm-hmm. So within the line of being corrupt, if I came in there and I didn't want to be bothered and I had a hangover or whatever the case may be, you might have had a problem with me. If you came up to me on some BS with something else that really I overstepped my boundaries with putting my hands on you.
Now I have a question. There's the son of Sam law that I was telling you about, which makes it illegal for criminals to profit off of telling their story. How did you go around that law?
What it is, that son of Sam law says that no criminal can profit off their crime if they have victims. My charge is attempt drug sale in the third. I have a victimless crime. So, like, hypothetically speaking, if I killed somebody or stuff like that, and they decided to put my book out, all the proceeds would probably go to the family of the victims of that I did something to.
But in this case, because it's a victimless crime, not the same.
The reason I wanted you up, and we're talking to Gary L. Hayward. He wrote the book Corruption Officer. How long has this book been out?
The book roughly has been out for a year and a half. I self-published it.
It was on the cover of the Daily News over the weekend.
It's coming out March 31st. Simon and Schuster.
Oh, so you got it picked up?
Yes.
Whoa. Mage. That's
How
pretty
is this
exciting.
book different from the first one that you wrote?
Well, the first one was me and what knowledge I had about writing a book. It was raw and more gritty and stuff
Spelling
like that.
errors and all that.
Yeah, crazy.
Punctuation's horrible.
If you look at the reviews I have on Amazon, they love my book, but the typos, my man, you need to go.
Hold on. I'm so glad. Hold on. So just real quick, when is the book coming out through Simon and Schuster?
March 31st.
Okay, amazing. Now I can make fun of this. Beautiful front of the original copy of the book. Really looks nice. The back, not as much.
Look at your copy.
He has a back?
There you go.
Okay. It's just mine.
That's for promotional purposes.
Okay. Damn it. I wanted to make fun of that. Yo, that's really cool. I mean, listen, I have a different approach to this inherently because
you don't know any criminals like that.
Don't know criminals like that. I'm a member of the start snitching community. I just don't identify with a lot of things. So to me, it sounds like you did some really. Here are the things that I take away from what I've heard so far. You did a lot of fucked up shit. I'm curious to how you got there because you seem like a smart person with obviously morals. So I'm curious about how you ended up there. And then I want to hear about this amazing woman you're with who's still, was she with you when you were there?
I'm going to give her props. That's my wife. She was with me. She wasn't with me when I was a CO.
Okay.
But I've known her since 2000. She's in chapter 51.
It's a lot of chapters, by the way. We have to do a
55.
few less chapters.
She looking around like, fam, you can show me love, but listen, do not bring my name up on this hot 9-7. I don't want that 8. Leave me
But she
out.
knew you. She knew you then, but you weren't together yet.
No, we wasn't together.
That was the
I'ma
face,
tell you
right?
what happened was, with being a CO, I had a lot of women. Being on Rikers Island, like I explained in my book about how it is, like I had a flyer saying if you can't find love on Rikers Island, something's really wrong with you.
I don't even understand what that
don't-
means.
Yeah, you had a flyer out to get.
Okay, there's a lot of relationships things going on Rikers Island. There's a lot of sex going on Rikers Island. People don't want to believe it because, obviously you're not supposed to be fornicating with your co-workers or the inmates. But even in light of my book, there's a lot of officers angry right now. He's lying. He's not telling the truth. But let's picture this. You have an inmate in Maryland that has 4 female correction officers having babies by him. You have a female correction officer already having a baby by the cop killer. So you don't think a female officer would be prostituting herself for a couple dollars? You think that's not possible? And the way the structure of the jail is, how many nooks and crannies and hideaways you can go to. I mean, if you're not there, then you're not going to know. And you're not going to see the picture that I'm telling you.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I guess, and I believe. Listen, I believe what you're saying. I know it happens. You put hundreds of people in a caged environment under a lot of stress and long days and hours. Craziness is going to take place. Like it's not. I mean, it's not that hard to believe. What I'd like to know from you right now are the stories that you're hearing coming out of Rikers. Right, people poisoning inmates' foods, the beatings, more sex, smuggling. I mean, this took place. You said 2002. This took place.
No, 2006.
2006. Well, 2006 is when you got in trouble.
Yeah.
But before that was when you was doing all this.
Oh yeah.
Do you believe it's still taking place on Rikers right now?
Okay, this is what I'm going to say. I came home in 2008. Since I came home, over 20 officers have been arrested for doing the things that I did. I will tell you this in my book. I did detail specifically things that the Department of Corrections could do to prevent officers from bringing in drugs. I don't think they're going to give me credit for it. It really doesn't matter because the book is coming out March 31st. 12 officers got arrested about 2 months ago, and they used the tactics that I put in my book. Now, the officers are not going to pay homage to my book. I'm not going to support your book. You're a piece of dirtbag. Okay, fine. That's your choice. But had you read it, and if you were doing anything wrong, you would have saw what I'm telling you about. It's equivalent to, Ebro, you come out your building every day, I'm standing on the corner hustling. Yo, what's up, G? Yeah, them Knicks, they won last night, they lost night, whatever. Small talk, you go about your business. Then you hear, oh, G got bagged. G went to jail for standing on that street corner hustling. When I come home, I say, yo, Ebro, I'm telling you, this is how they got me. The lady on the second floor snitch, they got a camera right here in the light. I'm letting you know, don't stand there, don't hustle there. If you choose to go hustle there and get caught, whose fault is that?
Do you believe corrections officers that are signing up for these jobs on Rikers want to do some of the criminal behavior happening, or they get sucked into it?
People's different situations cause them to do things, as it did for me. I didn't walk into Rikers Island knowing how to be corrupt. That I see it, I saw it.
And you thought it was a quick way to make some side money?
You get the temptation is there from day one. From day one, I could have been walked in there and just started slinging stuff around and doing things. But in my book, I detail why I did it, what led me to do it, you know what I'm saying, and how I did it. And then all the things in between that led up to that, It's all in the book. I didn't hold nothing back. And I'm not bashing all the officers on Rikers Island. There are a lot of good officers that do their job day in and day out. And they're upset because I'm pointing out what I did, that somebody's going to look at them and say, well, if he's doing it, you're doing it. But my thing is like this. Nothing in my book or in my life right now is stopping you from paying your mortgage, making your money, and doing what you're supposed to do. If you take me and my book off of Rikers Island, what kind of image did Rikers Island have?
I thought it was lovely previously.
Yeah, I hate you.
So you're a correctional officer, and then you go to jail. When you were in jail, were you in general population?
I wanted to go with general population, but I'm not. Again, I'm really not up here to try and badmouth Department of Corrections, because now this is not Rikers Island. Now I'm upstate. Now I'm downstate, and they're placing me in where they want me to be. So I'm sitting there going to general population, and then an officer stands up. There's about 20, 30 inmates there, and he said, "Hey, stand up." So I stood up, and he said, "How long were you a correction officer on Rikers Island?"
So he put you on blast.
Right then and there, so you know what that was. So everybody,
He wanted you to get your ass whooped while you was in there.
Yeah.
He wanted him to take you out.
It didn't help that I was handcuffed to Fat Nick Minucci at the time. You know, with his hate crime and stuff. Me and him were handcuffed together.
Literally handcuffed together.
I'm gonna tell you a story. Me and him were handcuffed. He's a cocky dude. He is not afraid at all of what jail or them deeming him a racist or whatever. But I'm not gonna talk about him. Me and him were handcuffed together, and you going through processes like 100 inmates on one side. They had me and him on another side because we were high profile. Inmates across the gym were looking at me, giving me they wanted me to hit him or do something to him, and they were going to join in at that time, you know. And I just said like this: listen, I'm already in here deep in shit. I'm not doing nothing. I'm doing my 2 years, and I'm getting out of here. You know, but they wanted, from across the gym, they wanted me to do something to him while I was there. I just didn't.
So you did 2 years, but prostitution and drugs, only 2 years? That seems like...
No, that was when you got charged with, though. You were only charged with the intent to distribute, correct?
I got 30 charges on me. It's like you throw something up against the wall and whatever sticks. You know, so I had a lot. Prostitution wasn't one of them because that wasn't something that they knew that I was doing. That wasn't something that they knew that was going on. Now, when you say prostitute, and in the paper she called me a pimp, it's like this. I'm in here, like I said, I'm smuggling contraband. She's over there having sex with whoever she wants for whatever.
You was the inmate's best friend, my G. They saw you coming. Not to cut you off, but you was slinging. Was giving cats, was getting pussy off the deal. They was getting smoke off the deal. You was their best friend in there.
At one time, you could say I was.
You was they was high-fiving you.
Well, no, but at the same time, he was also known to flip on people. He also said that part, that he beat the shit out of people sometimes, too.
Yeah, but if I'm going to get some pussy tomorrow, I'll tell you, I'm just playing. Wow, man. Wow.
Get your head together, man. You got a lot.
No, I'm just
man.
thinking, like, he's sitting up here. I feel like everybody's watching this, listening to this right now. They're looking at you as a snitch, right? Mm-hmm. You got a Simon & Schuster book deal, so you riding off, telling your story, got a check off the thing now.
Should.
And it's putting more pressure on what's going on at Rikers already. So people that are already still working there, they got the pressure on them. Your book's not helping. And then I'm thinking about inmates there that's smuggling in cigarettes or whatever they're smuggling in, thinking they, skirting around the rules. And you telling on them too. So everybody hates you right now.
Yeah.
Are you going to stick around here? I don't know if I live right here. It could seem like it could be unpleasant.
Yeah. It might be.
Is it true that you were able to roll over your pension?
Yeah. I just played by the rules that the city gave me. You get out of jail. I was on parole. I did my parole. They told me to be in the house at 9 o'clock. I'm in the house at 9 o'clock. When I went to go apply for jobs, I told them the truth. For any city agency, you have to you tell them you've been convicted of a crime. In this day and age with the internet, there's nothing they can't find out. Mm-hmm. So I told them everything. Who I was, they asked you ever got fired from a city job? Yes. You ever been convicted of a crime? Yes. Go to the court, get a disposition so we can verify what you're saying. Then we're going to look and see if you hiding anything else from the gate. And I couldn't get, like I said, I can't get a law enforcement job, and I can't work in like a bank or something like that. But manual labor, I can do that. I can pick things up.
And they won't even hire you for that.
For manual labor?
Yeah, like construction jobs and things
Yeah,
like that.
I had a construction job.
Oh, you
I
did?
got my CDL.
Oh, okay.
When I was in prison, I knew I fucked up. I knew I humiliated myself and my family and the department. I knew that. I was angry at first. I was angry at everybody else. Then I was angry at myself, and it was a priest in there. I wasn't going to church. I wasn't going to church as the CO, so I'm not going to church while I'm in jail. But he was in jail as well, the priest. And he talked to me. He said, "No, you can help a lot of people from going down your path." And at the first time, I was like, "Fuck them," you know. But writing became therapy for me. It was like, how the fuck this happened?
And obviously you're pretty good at it too, considering on this original version of the book, which you put out yourself, you have the quote, "a raunchy tell-all and critical portrayal of Rikers Island" from a New York Times review.
Yes.
So that's, I mean, obviously, listen, people can be mad, and I get it, but also it seems clear that you happen to randomly have a gift for writing this story.
Oh yeah, that's what Simon & Schuster told me when I had the meeting.
By the way, that line is such a stunt. I would drop that on someone. I mean, apparently, that's what Simon & Schuster said.
Shameless plug.
No, you deserve that. Now, here's the thing I'm curious about. Quickly, I'm always fascinated by the things that do exist. So people obviously get cigarettes in jail. People get weed in jail, correct? Pretty easily. Coke?
You could get pretty much anything besides like a Uzi or something that can't be hit.
What guns? People don't get guns. Handguns? You've seen it before. It's in the book.
It's in the book.
Okay. Cell phones, obviously, people get.
Yes.
Are there people in jail who straight up live with a cell phone?
No, can't.
You can't live with it. You can't have it all the time.
You can have one for a little while. I know people who have cell phones for a minute.
I'm just going to say, I can't say what no other officer doing. Every officer's not doing what I did. But during the time I was there, they had small, compact cell phones. And you have inmates in there that are called mules. And their primary way of surviving in jail is to transport weapons, drugs, or anything.
In they booty hole.
Yeah. So if you have a small cell phone, I can't say that they, but I'm like, who's paying that bill? And where you getting a signal at to use that all the time? But I knew what I was doing, but I can't speak for somebody else. Like if you said you know people who had cell phones on them constantly and stuff like that, I don't say I know about that, because me being cautious and not wanting to be caught, if I bring an inmate a cell phone, I wanted to make sure that I got that cell phone back before I left.
Right. That makes sense. Were any of the female officers who were having sex with inmates actually attractive?
All of it. There's a lot of attractive correctional females up
Really? So were there any hot chicks copstituting in jail?
The three.
You trying to turn this into a scene from a porn?
I'm kind of getting into this.
What's happening, bro? Get the book, man.
I just want to know. He's looking at his wife. She's like, no, they're not.
They're all ugly.
But there were some actually attractive ones who were in there banging inmates.
It was out of the three that I knew, yeah, they were pretty attractive.
Good news for the inmates, man. Doesn't have to be that way.
Hey, look, man. Give it up for him, whether you love it, whether you hate it. His name is Gary L. Hayward, Corruption Officers, the book. March 31st, it releases. And it's on Simon & Schuster, which is
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, everywhere.
There you go, man. Give it up
March
for him.
31st. Thanks, man.
Thank you for having me.